Good morning or good afternoon, first grade Great Oaks Legacy Scholars. Welcome back to video number 2 of trimester 3, week 2 remote learning. Yesterday, you should have seen the first video of regrouping and subtraction procedurally, where we are not using place value charts anymore. We are just solving the problem just by its number. So yesterday, we have to remember that when we regroup, it means we're changing either a 10 stick into a group of 10 ones cube, or we're going to change the 10 ones into 1 tens or 1 10 stick. Remember, we regroup when there's not enough in the ones place. So just like last week and just like yesterday, when we need to subtract and we notice that the top number in the ones place is smaller than the number in the ones place at the bottom, then that means we need to regroup because there's not enough to take away in the ones place. So we're going to continue this regrouping just like yesterday into today and the rest of this week. I'm going to have 4 different types of problems, and it's going to help you solve your own independent work when you finish this video. The 4 different problems that you're going to see are going to be subtracting multiples of 10, and we're going to see subtracting double digits. So let's get right to it. Now, before we even start, you can't forget about our poem. Remember, this poem is going to help us to remember when we need to subtract to regroup and when we do not need to regroup. I'm going to read this poem to you guys one more time so that way you guys can remember. Remember, it goes like this. More on top, no need to stop. More on the floor, go next door and get 10 more. Numbers are the same, then 0 is the game. Remember, when there's more on top, that means there's no need to stop. You can keep subtracting. But when there's more on the floor, you need to go next door and you have to regroup to get 10 more. When the numbers are the same in the ones place, then 0 is the game. So let's get started with our first problem. I have here 33 minus 9. Just like any problem, don't forget we always have to put our middle line to make sure that we answer the problem nice and neat and that we're not overlapping any place values. So we draw that middle line straight in the middle. Now the next thing that we got to do is we got to look at the ones place. Remember, we always look at the ones place first. And I got to see, before I start, I got to make sure that these 2 numbers in the ones place is what I'm going to be solving first. So I'm going to draw my baby carrot. Remember to draw your baby sideways carrot. And remember, we're looking at the ones place and we want to solve the ones place first. So I got to see 3 minus 9. Can I solve 3 minus 9? Is that possible? Remember, the subtraction law is that the top number has to be bigger in order for us to subtract. So, more on the floor, go next door and get 10 more. So that means we have to go next door in the tens place. I'm going to cross out the 3, and I got to take this 3, and because I'm borrowing 1 tens, it becomes now 2, and now I got to get 10 more. So when I add 10 more, so 10 plus 3 gives me 13 because I got 10 more. So now I got to solve 13 minus 9. Since I have enough on top, now I can subtract. 13 minus 9. If you can do it in your head, think about it right now. Remember, my friends, if you can't really think about it in your head, that's okay. We can always show our work by using the count back strategy. So that means I'm going to draw a big circle. Inside my big circle, I'm going to put my big number 13. Then my second number is 9, so I'm going to draw 9 small circles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So I drew 9 small circles. Now I got to count back because I'm using the count back strategy. I have 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, and 4. So that means 13 minus 9 equals to 4. So I'm going to take this number 4, and now remember, I'm going to take this and put it in the ones place. So that means this 4 is going to go into the ones place because 13 minus 9 equals to 4. Now I got to solve the tens place because now I figured out the ones place. Now I can move on to the tens place. I have my number 2 because remember, we regrouped and we borrowed 1 tens. So now it's 2 minus blank equals, remember, blank is the same thing as 0. So anything we add or subtract 0 is the same number. So 2 minus blank or 2 minus 0 equals to 2. So we know 33 minus 9 equals to 24. For this problem, we definitely needed to regroup because we saw that 3 minus 9 did not make any sense. There was more on the floor, so we had to go next door and get 10 more. Let's take a look at our next problem now. Now we have double digits and we're subtracting by multiples of 10. 57 minus 20. Just like any problem, we gotta first start by drawing a line in the middle to make sure it's nice and neat. So I'm gonna put that line in the middle so that way our place values are nice and neat. Now, remember, I'm looking at the ones place first. So I'm gonna look at the ones place and I have to put my baby carrot. So I gotta put my baby carrot next to the 7 and the 0. And now I gotta figure out 7 minus 0. I see that there's more on top, so there's no need to stop. 7 minus 0 is, we should know this, because anything you subtract or add 0 is the same number, so 7 minus 0 equals to, let's figure it out. Put my big circle, put the number 7 inside, and the answer is 7. We don't need to draw any more small circles because our big number is 7, and 0 means we don't need to draw anymore. So that means I need to take this number 7 and I'm going to go put it into the ones place. So 7 minus 0 equals to 7. And now I got to solve the tens place. I figured out my ones place. Now I move on to my tens place. Remember, I didn't need to cross out because I did not regroup. Do not get tricked. Remember, you do not need to cross out the tens place because you did not regroup. If you did not borrow, do not cross out the tens place. So that means my 5 stays the same. Now I got to figure out 5 minus 2. If I can't really do it in my head or my fingers, I'm going to draw it out and show my work. I have my big circle, put the number 5 inside. I have to draw 2 small circles because my second number is 2. 1, 2. Now that I draw my 2 baby circles, I'm going to count back. 5, 4, 3. So that means my answer for 5 minus 2 is equal to 3. So that means my answer for 57 minus 20 is equal to 37. This one was pretty simple. For this problem, we did not need to regroup. We did not need to regroup because 7 minus 0 is equal to 7. I didn't need to borrow from the tens place. So that means I did not cross anything out in the tens place. And I just subtracted like how I usually would. Let's look at our third problem now. Now I have 62 minus 15. First things first, always draw that middle line. I'm going to draw my middle line. Now I got to look at the numbers in the ones place. Remember, we always solve the ones place first. I have 2 minus 5. Then we put my baby carrot next to the number 2 and 5. Now I got to see, 2 minus 5. Can I take 2 away when I want to take away 5 from 2. Can I do that? No, I don't have enough. There's more on the floor. So if there's more on the floor, I got to go next door to the tens place and get 10 more. So that means I need to cross out the 6 because I'm going to borrow now to regroup. Cross out the 6. Now the 6 becomes 5 tens because I'm going to borrow 10 more. When I borrow 10 more, 10 plus 2 is equal to 12. So now I can do 12 minus 5. If I want to show my work, I put my big circle, put my big number 12. Then I got to put 5 small circles because my second number is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now I have to count back. 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, and 7. So that means 12 minus 5 equals to 7. That means I'm going to take this number 7 and I'm going to put it in the ones place. Because 12 minus 5 equals to 7. And now I got to solve the tens place. Remember, I regrouped for this problem because 2 is a smaller number than 5. When it's a smaller number, I can't subtract it, so I have to borrow. And because I borrowed and I regrouped, my number 6 turned into a 5. So now I have to subtract 5 minus 1, not 6 minus 1. I have to do 5 minus 1 because I crossed it out and I borrowed. So let me show my work. I put my big circle, put my big number 5. I have my one small circle, so I need to draw that out. Now I need to count back. 5, 4. So 5 minus 1 equals to 4. So 62 minus 15 equals 47. Finally, let's move on to our last question, our last example. Our last example is 40 minus 12. I'm going to draw my middle line. Always start with our middle line. After I draw my middle line, I'm always going to look for which one am I going to look at? The tens place or the ones place? If you said the ones place, you are correct. I'm going to look at the ones place first. I'm going to look at the ones place and I need to subtract by putting my baby caret. So I have my baby caret, 0 minus 2. If I have 0, I have nothing. Can I take away 2? No, that doesn't make sense. So that means I need to borrow from the tens place. I have to go next door and get 10 more. So that means I've got to cross out 4 because I'm going to borrow 10 more. And now my 4 becomes 3 tens and I'm going to borrow 10 more. So I need to add 10 more. So 10 plus 0 is equal to, remember, anything you add or subtract 0 is equal to the same number. So that means it's 10. Now I can subtract and take away 2. I have 10 minus 2. That means I put my big circle, put my big number 10. My second number is 2, so I got to draw 2 small circles. 1, 2. And now I have to count back. 10, 9, 8. So 10 minus 2 is equal to 8. And that means I got to take this number 8 and I got to put it in the ones place. So 10 minus 2 is equal to 8. And then I got to now solve the tens place. Remember, for this problem, I had to regroup because there was more on the floor. 0 is smaller than 2, and we know that 2 is a bigger number. So I had to go next door and borrow 10 more. So I crossed out the 4, and now it's a 3. So that means I need to subtract 3 and 1. Not 4 and 1. I got to subtract 3 and 1. So 3 minus 1. I got to put my big circle, put my big number 3. Then I got to add 1 small circle because my second number is 1. And I got to count back. 3, 2. So 3 minus 1 is equal to 2. So that means 40 minus 12 is equal to 28. So for these problems, you saw 4 different examples. Remember, you got to see the ones place first, and if the top is smaller than the bottom, that means we need to regroup because there's not enough to take away. But if you see the problem like before where the top is bigger, if there's more on top, then you don't need to stop and you could keep subtracting because you do not need to regroup. Now it's your turn to practice using your independent practice packet. If you get confused, remember, you could always replay this video and look at each problem that you saw. Today, you saw 4 different types of problem examples. Or, remember, you could always reach out to your teachers for extra support. Good luck again, and I hope you finish all your packets.